advice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you need the wrong or right.
Good morning, Matt, and welcome.
Good morning,
to
Rob. Did you get your
another
pump on?
I did get my pump on. I am here. I am pumped, and
did
folks,
you
we are
feel
ready
so-
to pump you up with information.
Did you feel the blood rushing to your arms? You could
I
feel
did.
the skin tighten.
I did. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You got to cut this, but
Yeah.
I had to do the Arnold. It's like coming all the time.
It's like I'm coming in the
It's
gym.
like I'm coming in the gym.
I'm coming at home. It's great. I'm in front of 5,000 people, and I feel like I'm coming. That man was governor of the ninth
He was
largest
governor
economy.
of the state, and quite frankly, by all accounts, not a terrible one. That's how low the bar is for governorship.
Anyway, hello. The show is something.
I think it's called Dungeon Master of None,
I'm Dungeon Master Matt.
and I'm Dungeon Master Rob, and we've got a full docket for you today. There's been some pretty interesting news, which we're going to discuss, and then I think Matt has a special surprise
I have a
prepared
surprise
me,
for you.
which I love. I love surprises. I love surprises. I love surprises. Anyway, we're gonna see what that's like.
Rob doesn't know what's coming. He can't take an action. He is disadvantaged on.
That's right.
Dexterity saving throws.
I'm at the end of the initiative order. But first, let's talk about some announcements. So on our last regular episode, Matt, and we get no credit for this, and nobody has to give us, but let it be known that Matt predicted the name, or at least the in-universe author of the upcoming book, which is Tasha's Cauldron of Everything,
That's
which
correct.
is presumably our next Volo's Guide, Mordenkainen's tome, filled with
It's going
character
to be,
options.
I think, a more of a Xanathars, if we're being technical
Xanathars.
here, right? Because it's more player stuff, like 30 subclasses.
You're correct.
No monsters.
That's right. Yeah, at least one new subclass for each of the 13. 22 new subclasses, 5 reprinted, not including artificer subclasses. There's some
And you're going to get your armorer. Your armorer will be an official subclass, finally.
finally. We like to see it. Some alternate class features, things to maybe boost up the ranger.
I think the big one is going to be a new system, which, God, we've been talking about this for like 2 years on the podcast, for races or species and stat and trait selections. We really don't know what that's going to look like, but it will allow supposedly players to pick their stat boosts and maybe separate cultural from like species traits.
Yeah, it's a lineage system, which, if we understand what Wizards has said so far, so it decouples ability scores from your actual race or species. We'll see what it actually looks like when it comes out. They're also removing negative ability scores from those that or negative racial modifiers from
So
those
like
that have
an
them.
orc,
Or kobold, which I
Yeah.
think are the only ones, and those are both from Volos. So that'll be interesting. And I assume this is official. This is canon again, to the extent that it matters. But yeah, I think that's this is now official play. You don't have to ask permission from your DM. Well, you do, but you don't have to like negotiate
It's
like
a
a
little
homebrew or
easier,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we talked about these before. This is cool. They're printing some new spells, including all those cool new conjuration spells that we talked about in
Right.
the UA a few weeks ago, months ago. I don't remember when that was, but I liked those. This is cool. I
So
think it adds go ahead.
Here's one thing I didn't notice when we talked about those new conjuration spells, the ones that are summon instead of conjure. Unless they've changed it, Summon Fey Spirit should let you summon like actual pixies, which have the ability, I think, to basically cast very high level spells. So that could be a fun niche use case.
I definitely feel like there's some potential for abuse here, but
that's fine.
players would never do that. They're also, this is interesting. I don't know what this means, but somebody or one of the articles about this said that there were feats to open up multi-classing. I'm not sure what exactly that's going to mean, but I'm interested to see.
I'm sure it's going to be a feat that gives you like a partial class feature, like you get Monk's Unarmed Strike or something like that,
or Rogue Sneak Attack or something like that.
Yeah,
at like a lower progression level. That makes sense.
That would be cool. Just because multi-classing is so punishing.
There's also some new magic items which have been boosted pretty. They seem pretty proud of this. Let me say this. I'll believe it when I see it. They said that they're trying to make magic items more interesting. We will see.
We will see.
This is a promise that Wizards has made since the beginning of 5th edition. We will see if they can accomplish it. But
yeah,
looks pretty cool. Yeah,
it does look pretty cool. The character they've chosen for this one is Tasha or Natasha, aka Igwilv, which is a Gygaxian name. Have you heard of Igwilv before? I've been studying my Greyhawk with Andy,
I have not
so
heard
I know
of
a little
Igwilv.
bit.
Igwilv is before my time.
Igwilv
after my. I don't know. Never heard of an Igwilv.
Evil wizard witch from Greyhawk. She is one of the like older villains from the Greyhawk setting, and she is most known for being like the enemy of the main group of wizards in Greyhawk, the Circle of Eight, and she's also the mother of Ayuz. Remember Ayuz, the demigod king of the evil kingdom of Ayuz? Anyway.
Extremely generally, yes. I remember that sort of, kind of, yes.
Deep Greyhawk lore, apparently she has a pseudonym named Tasha, a.k.a. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which is probably where most of your players will know her from.
That is where I know her from, but Matt has done the deep research.
Yeah. Igwilv is a much better name, I think, even though it's Gygaxian stupid. I like it. I wish we had Igwilv's cauldron of everything.
Igwilv's Hideous Laughter, though, doesn't like flow quite as well as Tasha's Irresistible Dance. Wait, is it? It's also Tasha's Irresistible Dance, right? Those are both her spells.
I think so. And now, okay, I don't want to offend any Tashas that we have who are listening, but to me, like, Tasha is like the fantasy name, like for like a female gender like character, like, oh, what am I gonna call it? I gotta come up with a cool name that's a little relatable but also fantasy sounding. It's gonna be Tasha, right? I feel like I've read a bunch of bad fantasy novels where there's a Tasha character. Igwilv. It's weird.
Igwilv is weird. There are also some things that were in Eberron that we liked are now going to make it to, I think, just general play.
I mean, the Artificer class,
but also
is going to be repeated.
Group patrons, which were a cool idea from Eberron. Again, not something that you necessarily need written up to do, but it's like your party is serving, a dragon or an adventuring academy,
Moorgrave University, right?
Right, which is a cool idea and a useful thing. Also, sidekicks. I don't know if you remember these.
Yeah, I remember we talked about the UA sidekick on the show.
I guess they did end up in the Essentials kit, which
yes,
I never looked at that.
I looked at it and I remember that. Now, one of the interesting things is apparently they said in one interview that the sidekicks could potentially be there for players to use as a character class. I'm interested to see how that will work because that was definitely not something that was in the UA.
So, broadly, Tasha's... Initially, I was like, look at all these fucking reprints. What do I give a shit about that? But on further reflections, there's definitely some things to look forward to that I'm interested to see how they implement. Some cool new things. Ultimately, there's nothing... I'm not sure we're going to see anything 100% new, which is always a disappointment and also kind of par for the course with Wizards these days. But the implementation is always kind of interesting somehow, and sometimes they make interesting changes at the last minute.
Here's what I'm going to base my judgment on probably when it comes out, which is the one thing that is, I think, 100% new is this lineage system, which we never really got in a UA. And if it works, it'll be great. If it doesn't work, it'll be a huge disappointment.
I mean, it would be hard to fuck this up because about 1,000 people have come up with really good homebrew attribute systems. Like it's actually not super hard to do. That being said, if anybody can fuck it up, it's probably Wizards.
Yeah. So what? 1 billion different third-party creators have tried this, and you can find them all on the DM's Guild, or even just by Googling alternate, racial system or something like that.
Yeah. And other D&D adjacent games have this. It is not actually like all that difficult to do. It is the game is balanced very well. It is hard just based on ability scores to break anything. It's a small difference, but without the like 1.5 modifiers and other modifiers of previous editions, like if your orc has 18 strength and your human buddy has 16, it's not actually gonna shatter the game mechanics. But we'll see what happens. I am interested to see how this pans out.
I don't think Wizards has ever added enough stuff in any one book, and the book's released slowly, that it ever feels like bloat, which is, I don't know, kind of a made-up word that RPG commentators talk about a lot. Are there too many extra rules? Is the system becoming too
reminds me, Matt,
encumbered?
We should probably someday just do a whole episode on the Tome of Battle, which is sort of the primary document for the death of 3.5 and the hatred of rules bloat and the Marshall versus caster dynamic. But that was one book,
I actually really like the Tome of Battle.
I love the Tome of Battle.
Maybe
I really don't think that it broke the game, but
no.
I don't know. It was fun. It let marshals do cool things and not like all that. Anyway, well, we should do a whole episode on it just for fun so that people know the history. But I think Wizards is very, very gun shy about putting out anything that radical or chunky, and so nothing they've put out has been all that dramatic. Though they're not shy about breaking things. Like Samurai and Arcane Archer still don't really work all that well, and that was like they broke them between the UA and the actual book, which was
you could release a errata or something, but no, there's
that's fine. Whatever,
why
just deal
not?
with it. Just deal with it.
Just no one play these classes that everyone wants to play. It's fine.
One cool thing that would be, I guess, new, is a reprint or a rework of the Bladesinger, which was one of the very, very, very early subclasses in Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. Maybe they'll reprint those tasty martial hybrid cantrips, Green Flame Blade, and
some of those are good.
They're good.
I like some of them.
They're good, especially if you want to play a mix them up spell sword character. Anyway, so that's one thing I'm keeping my eye on. But yeah, so we know a lot about Tasha's, but there's still a lot to be seen.
November 17th, 2020.
November 17th. So keep your...
We'll be here with a review of it.
Keep your third eye peeled.
Yes.
Keep your arcane eye
arcane
on the...
eye.
Yeah.
We'll be here to talk about it regardless, so you know what to think, right?
That's right.
Please don't form an opinion until we tell you whether it's good or not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's what we're here for. The other piece of news that is worth discussing is, and we've talked about this quite a bit, so I'm not sure there's like a whole lot of new stuff
there's
to
not
say.
too much to say,
but
this is a surprise announcement, though.
Yeah, so Magic the Gathering will not be having a standard card set.
M22 set.
In 2021.
22.
What?
Magic sets, Rob, they're like new cars, right? If you want to buy this year's newest Toyota Corolla, you buy the 2021 Toyota Corolla.
Is it really called the 2022 set?
Yes, there's M21 out right now.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, everyone. Cancel me for not being a good nerd.
Right now, you could get the core set of 2021, and next year you would assume you could get the core set of 2022. But instead,
they are going to be printing some sort of Dungeons and Dragons themed.
It's called Adventures in the Forgotten Realms.
So there's not a lot of
basically all we know about it. Yeah,
here, but yeah, there will be some kind of D&D Magic the Gathering crossover. I'm guessing that it will be just a maybe that Toril will be a plane. You'll have your Drizzits and your Elminsters. Ooh, Matt.
Oh, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah, go ahead.
What if they retcon it and the Elminster is a planeswalker?
Oh, I'm sure he's a planeswalker. Well, I mean, he's a chosen of Mystra,
He is.
which basically gives him all the power to have all the powers, which is always a cool thing to have.
Right. He's the protagonist, not you.
He is. We know he's planeswalked before to Ed Greenwood's kitchen in Canada, like British Columbia, Canada, right?
And,
he did that in several.
What's interesting is that Toril is already part of a
Multiverse?
a multiverse of planes. So
Listen, you do not planeswalk between the planes. You get in your Spelljammer, you exit the Crystal Sphere, you take the Philostum stream to the next Crystal Sphere. That's how you travel between planes and the material plane.
So, we've already talked about how the
arrow's in a different direction now, right?
How do I want to put this as generously as possible? The Hasbroification of Wizards, means that from a certain perspective, because Dungeons and Dragons, despite being a storied and ancient and honorable franchise,
okay,
just whatever.
Yes.
Bear with me. Is subordinate to Magic the Gathering because Magic the Gathering makes a bajillion more dollars than D&D does. So while it may irk me somewhat that, Toril, I don't know exactly like how this is going to work canonically, and everyone can just choose to ignore anything that they want, but it seems like it may be that suddenly everything that's ever happened in Dungeons and Dragons is now just a part of the greater MTG storyline, which is, we discussed this at length in a previous episode, super fucking bonkers, and sometimes not that good. Sometimes actually quite bad. So I guess I want to see how this is implemented. Maybe it'll just be a bunch of cards printed with cool art, which is good, but also it might mean an increasing synchronization of the two franchises, which I have already expressed my... I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's not what I would like, I guess. So this is I
mean, to draw a little on Clifford Geertz here and the ideas of low and high culture, to
That's
me
right.
It seems like the inevitable cycle of popular myths. You have something like the Watchmen comics, which are a critique on superheroes, and then you fast forward 30 years and you have a movie adaptation that's a straightforward presentation of them as superheroes. You have Dungeons and Dragons, and then it spawns a renewed interest in high fantasy. You have a bunch of people who play Dungeons and Dragons, write the first Wizards cards, and then for Magic the Gathering, and then 30 years later, there's a set for actual Magic the Gathering.
Well, this is a great. Let's draw, Matt, upon these metaphorical notes for a Balinese cockfight and talk about what would the Watchmen
it's deep play, Rob.
It is deep play. It is deep play, Matt. That's what Dungeons and Dragons is. I'm imagining a Clifford Geertz coming and sitting in on my D&D sessions and
Right.
writing up this deep analytical discussion of how it informs our society.
Right, and you didn't really earn the trust of the paladin and the bard until you all had to run away and hide from the cops, and
This is
and then
actually
they were
right.
like, okay, we're gonna tell you about this.
We bonded by all being getting swirlies in middle school for doing Dungeons and Dragons. That's what binds our society together.
Right. It's a
what
bunch of 15-year-olds and one very white anthropologist.
That's right.
Who's in his 40s. And his wife.
swirlies.
And his wife. Let's not forget.
His wife. What would the Watchmen of Dungeons and Dragons look like? What if someone were going to try to do a high art of D&D? What would that be?
The low art of it, I think, for kids was Adventure Time. Adventure Time, I
Interesting.
think, for children was let's take ideas of D&D and fantasy and turn them into a kids show. I've only seen a couple episodes, but I was like, oh, that's what this is. I don't know
It's really
about
good though.
if
Adventure
high
Time is
art
probably
has ever
better.
happened.
Like it's probably more valuable to society than most of like existing D&D lore. I'm just
Sure.
I think you're not
Yeah.
wrong that that's technically low art. However,
Yeah.
it has more value in general. Anyway, but like high art, it would be like
There's been one novel that is won like high art praise that delves deep into what D&D might mean.
It's
and
that Junot
that's-
Diaz one,
it's
right?
the
Yeah.
Junot Diaz. He's canceled now, but his book
But
remains.
his book is good. Death of the Author, everyone, you can still read it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more about being a nerd and not about D&D itself. It's definitely that nerd experience of I'm into D&D, but I never got to play it that much.
I guess like a Watchmen of D&D would be one that merges a very like realistic and like real and important in-universe story with a out of game drama, something that like makes them somehow both meaningful and real, but binds them together and takes itself very seriously and
Right.
is dark
I mean,
and gritty.
A couple weeks ago, I watched an online performance of Wynn's She Kills Monsters, and while that was a play for the theater, I don't think it was high art. Like, it was a fun, little, enjoyable play, right?
Well, and this has been tried before. It just hasn't been done very well. And frankly, I find it incredibly
It was very good,
boring. I don't particularly care for this type of storytelling, but anyway, I'm still waiting for somebody to try to reclaim Dungeons and Dragons for high art. Damon Lindelof, hit me up. I'm here to give you my ideas on how to take a beloved nerd franchise and ruin it for everybody.
Rob always still trying to write the great Trillion novel.
All right, Matt.
Go
I'm
back
ready
and
for your
get your
surprise.
MFA, Rob. Okay.
Never.
All right, let's
Never.
take a quick break. Let's and I'm gonna quiz Rob. That's your surprise, Rob.
I'm so
Okay.
excited.
Clap your hands now, people, clap now. Clap your hands now, people, clap your hands. Clap your hands now, people, clap now. Clap your hands now, people, clap your hands. Clap your hands now, people, clap now. Clap your hands now, people, clap your hands. Clap your hands now, people, clap now.
So, Rob, you and I know that, and I think we need to put this disclaimer here, and maybe we will even prove it during this segment, that knowing trivia about D&D isn't worth anything.
Knowing trivia about most things isn't worth anything.
Yes.
It is a fun hobby. It can be good for your own storytelling or for your own gaming, but it has no inherent value. Your ability to recall facts. I'm sorry, Matt and I are both historians. We're very good at recalling facts. I want to let you know it has absolutely no value. There is nothing useful about by itself having a lot of like factual, like specific knowledge, being able to remember names and dates and whatever by itself without the connective tissue of analytical and critical thinking is useless. So as somebody who has a ton of useless trivia, let me and Matt be very clear and say that it does not matter for shit.
With that being said, Rob, welcome to play the little drop.
Sorry, I want
from-
to embarrass Matt and I real fast by talking about when we were young boys and very into Star Wars. We
When
got
he
into these
was
repeated arguments with a friend of my father's and his father's who was older, and about Star Wars trivia. And so Matt and I would try to like get him on stuff from the extended universe, and he would say, "Yeah, but that's not canonical."
It's not canonical. This is, if you want to know what made Rob and I into, like, this is we were bitten by a radioactive XY. We were bitten by a radioactive canon nerd.
Yeah,
At like
yeah,
age 13.
He owned us when we were too young to fight back, and we've never
Right.
recovered from this.
And we've been struggling to learn the difference between like George Lucas canon, A canon, B canon, ever
Disney
since.
canon, yeah. All right, Matt, quiz me. So we're gonna find out.
All right.
how
That
good
was the
my
name of the twins who were spies for the Empire in the cantina. Oh, they don't have a name because it's not A canon. All right. Remember they were smoking the little thing?
That's right. They do have names in the later, I think, Tales from Jabba's Palace.
Yeah.
But if you read that and thought that mattered, well, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I love, and that is something I do love about the original, like, Star Wars, like, Cantina and Jabba the Hutt palace scenes, is every one of those dumb Muppets and people with makeup on eventually got their own 5-part novel.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's
great.
very good. It's very good. All right, R.I.P. Hammerhead. When are we going to get another Hammerhead?
Yeah, were there even any Ithorians in the sequel trilogy? I don't think so. Where's
Yeah,
my
where's
Ithorian
my
representation,
Ithorians?
folks?
Yeah, it's actually conversations like this one, Rob, that made the sequels suck so hard.
That we personally are the reason why the
Yes.
sequel trilogy was bad. It's our
Just
fault.
wanted a good movie. I think we got maybe half of one good movie out of the 3.
I'm
Maybe
gonna be
in
generous.
the middle
I'm
one.
gonna say 1.25 to 1.5 good movies, all taken together. I bet if you cut big chunks of the first and last one, the last
Okay.
two. If you
The
cut
last two.
big chunks of the last two, and a lot of the first one, and really like aggressively stitch them together, I bet you have like a good movie there.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at us. Sorry, friends.
Okay,
Anyway,
Rob, here's your
first
first
time.
question. So play the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire drop. And here's your first question. Okay, Rob, if you have a creature between yourself and a target of a ranged attack or a ranged spell attack, what modifier do you add to the attack roll? What does the target have?
The target has +2 to their armor class because they have cover.
All right, we're going to have
And
to
it-
get much tougher here.
Okay. Okay,
Yes,
good.
I forget about cover all the time.
Yeah,
right?
by the way, I also want to be clear. Just because I know this rule does not mean that I remember to implement it. It is actually one of the rules that I either intentionally leave out or I just forget about the most often.
I find myself forgetting about cover a lot because we often don't use maps at my tables these days. And also, yeah, it's fine.
Also,
It's
my
a
players
very
always
minor
forget,
thing.
and I feel bad if someone's like, "I'm going to shoot at this person." I'm like, "Yeah, but they've got cover." It just especially if they're super excited to make their attack. I don't know. It's
You gotta feel it, you know.
Fifth
We're
edition
feeling
doesn't
it.
have. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it definitely still has these corner case or easily forgettable rules that can really bite you in the ass.
All right, your next question's from the history category.
Okay.
In the original D&D Red Box, how many classes were there?
Okay. All right, I want to own how bad I'm going to be at this, so I'm gonna say I think that there were fighter, rogue, wizard, and I know that ranger was a later addition. I want to say paladin, so 4. Is that right?
Oh God, you're really off. That's you're back down to 0 points, Rob.
Oh no. Okay, how bad was it?
Okay, so the original classes were man at arms, aka
Oh fuck
fighter.
me! God damn it! I'm thinking of I'm thinking of like first edition. Yeah.
Yeah, magic user, cleric,
Cleric. I'm the fucking cleric.
and you missed 4 entire classes.
I just remember.
You
I
don't
remember
have
that.
my bow, my axe, or etc. etc. To give you a hint,
What?
they're not classes anymore, and haven't been for a long time.
I don't know what they are. You have to tell me. Yeah, I don't know anything
elf.
about the red box. Oh, that's right. That's right because they were
Dwarf,
racial classes. Racial classes. Elf,
Yeah.
dwarf, was there
Halfling.
halfling.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking of first edition. Yeah. Sorry. My early D&D knowledge is pretty limited. So if Matt put a lot of these in here, I'm gonna fuck it up.
Not only early D&D, you'll be okay.
But that's okay.
Okay.
Let's-
Yeah, early D&D was very different. We've come a
Okay.
long way. Okay.
All right. So
all right,
I'm
let's
1
see.
for 1, which is as good a start as I could expect.
This is an easy one. These are all, I thought, softballs at the beginning, but maybe not. Who is the creator of the orcs?
Like in universe,
In universe, in, I guess, let's say, the Forgotten Realms.
is it Grumsh?
It is Grumsh, the
Yes.
one-eyed.
The
There
one-eyed.
you go. All right,
All
you're
right,
back
okay.
on the board with 200 points.
All right,
I don't think
okay.
I've ever done anything interesting with Grumsh in any
so
of my
I once
campaigns.
actually I think this was a game that you ran, but I once played a Rage Prophet, which was
the Rage
which was a
Prophet.
prestige class from 3.5, where you needed levels in Barbarian and Oracle, and you were a kind of like a raging like spirit summoner, but you had to follow. I think you were encouraged to follow Grumsh, like they were mostly like orc. Which was a really cool idea in my head, but in practice was an absolute garbage class. Anyway, so that is, and I think like a lot of them put their eyes out. Anyway, so that's all I remember about Grumsh. That's basically my lore interaction with the creator of the orcs.
Okay, we're back to rules questions, Rob.
Okay.
A monster is immune to damage from non-magical bludgeoning weapons. The monster falls 100 feet. Does the monster take damage from falling? You can use a lifeline on this, Rob.
No, I'm going to save a lifeline.
If you want to call a friend.
No, I don't want to call a friend. I didn't even know there was a rule for this. I'm going to go ahead and just tell you how I would rule as a dungeon master, which is that, yes, they do take damage from falling. However, I can see that perhaps rules as written, that might not be the case. What do the official rules say?
Rules as written, yes, they would take damage. Your instincts and the rules actually line up in this case, because falling is not a weapon attack.
Falling, it's not a weapon attack. Okay, that's kind of what I thought, but I was okay. Cool. All right.
Otherwise,
I'm glad that makes sense, because that would also be something that I would not be surprised was the other way around. But yeah.
If it was the other way around, I would definitely like have an evil villain that has a bunch of monsters who are immune to bludgeoning damage in his or her service, and like drops them like paratroopers on the city
just,
out of his
like
flying castle or something like that.
Physically, like what hurts you? I mean, just like if your skin is immune to like bludgeoning, like it still rattles around your insides. Like Luke Cage couldn't like jump out of an airplane and not die, even though like his skin would be intact. Like his insides would be liquefied, right?
I don't know.
That's just like how physics works.
He could do it if it looked cool, I guess.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm trying to apply physics to comic books.
Luke Cage. All right, let's see. We're back to a history question.
Okay.
Basic question. Dungeons & Dragons came out in what year?
Fuck if I know. Hang on, I'm gonna guess.
Let's see if you can get close. I'll give it to you if you can get within 2 years.
1978.
Ooh, that's no cigar for Rob. 1974.
What?
Yeah.
I'm so bad at this. I really everything prior to like second edition just sort of like runs together in my mind. I don't know a goddamn thing. Well, yeah, that's fine.
That's okay. What we want to demonstrate here is how little this shit matters.
I also want to let everybody know I have a pretty dim opinion of early versions of Dungeons & Dragons. Sorry to you big Gygax heads out there. It was garbage. It sucked. I wouldn't play it. Just letting you know. Sorry.
Okay, let's do another lore question that Rob will hate.
I can't wait for this. Okay.
In the Forgotten Realms, the ranger, Drizzt Do'Urden, has an animal companion, a black panther. What is that animal companion's name?
Oh, fuck me. I have read at least one Drizzt book.
And see, this is the bad thing. I have never read a Drizzt book.
So I should know.
You should know.
His animal companion's name, I'm never going to remember it.
Does he talk to his animal companion?
I don't remember. He's got it like, doesn't he like summon it from an onyx figurine? I don't fucking remember. What is it? I'm going to be mad when you tell it to me, but what is it?
And I know I can probably barely say this. It's Gwynhwyvar.
Yeah, okay, I wasn't going to remember that.
Spelled all Welsh-like. Gwynhwyvar.
Yep.
Yep, that's Panther. Hey, maybe we'll see some Drizzt as we're visiting his home in Icewind Dale.
I forgot to mention when we were talking. we were talking about it, but one cool thing, not Drizzt specifically, but we might get some good art from the MTG cards. That would be cool. Though, if they really wanted to make us mad, they just reprint art from existing D&D books or D&D properties, which is what they might do. That's exactly kind of lazy shit that Wizards would do. Prove me wrong, Wizards. Prove me wrong.
Yep. Okay, here's another rules question, Rob. Can you attack or use the attack action from prone? In 5th edition, sorry. Clarify. Rules questions are all 5th edition.
You can, at disadvantage.
Ooh, nicely done, Rob. Rob, you give yourself not enough credit for knowing the intricacies of the rules.
Unfortunately
not that you need to know.
I unfortunately know the rules a lot better than I need to, but yes, I guess I do know the rules. Okay, yeah. That's right? Yes,
Yep,
you can,
that's
but
right.
at disadvantage.
That
Yeah.
is absolutely exactly the correct answer. All right. Here's another sort of history question, Rob. A boat on the river Oceanus leaves Arborea at 10 a.m. It arrives at Elysium at 2 p.m. What plane did you travel through? Arborea to Elysium.
You traveled through the elemental plane of water?
Ooh, you're not on the great wheel. You got off that wheel, Rob.
Oh, I got off
So,
the wheel.
Here, I'll give you a hint.
It's
Arborea
called,
is chaotic good,
right,
and
right.
Elysium is neutral good.
This is neutral good.
So what's the halfway between those?
Wait, isn't Elysium lawful good?
Elysium's neutral good. Mount Celestia is lawful good.
Well, then I don't know what you would go through going from chaotic good to neutral good.
There's one for all the 9 corners. There's one halfway plane, and the answer in this one is the Beastlands.
Oh, fuck
The
me. I was going to get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which also, I think, in some early publications was known as the Happy Hunting Grounds, in an example of real
Interesting.
bad racism, I think. But yeah, the
Interesting.
Beastlands.
Yeah, there was no way I was going to get that. Yeah. Okay, interesting. I have heard of the Beastlands. I did not know that they were a half plane or a halfway, and I didn't know where they were located. So we're all learning something today.
We're all learning something. The Great Wheel is full of fun things. Okay, Rob. All right, here's a lightning round for you. I'm gonna put
All right, I'm ready.
60 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
You have 60 seconds to name the spell effects of the 10 eye stalks of a beholder.
Okay.
Go.
One is disintegrate. One is paralyze. One is petrify. One is straight up death ray. Let's see. Paralyze, petrify, paralyze, petrify, disintegrate, instant death.
Got that.
One does fire damage. What is that? Is that 5?
30 seconds. You've got 4.
One is a ray of frost. One is a one is imprisonment, I think, or it used to be. Is that even a spell anymore in 5th edition? Don't
15
stop me.
seconds.
And let's see. Frost. Let's see. Confuse.
10 seconds.
Confuse is the last one. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Confuse? Okay. You've got let's see. I've got 9 guesses from you. Maybe I missed one.
That sounds right.
And
I got,
okay, time is up. All right.
I was counting on my hands, but
I was sure you're going to get this, Rob, because you were on a roll. In the first 10 seconds, you got correctly right.
I just remember. The thing is, I remember all the ones I've died to, but
You missed. I'm gonna tell you right now. You got 4 points.
Okay, that's
4
right.
out of 10.
I can live with that.
So that's a failing grade, but that's okay. There's this pass-fail course. You can bring it up. Just write the professor.
What are they? Wait, what are the other ones then?
Okay, so the ones you got correctly are Death Ray, Disintegration Ray, Petrification Ray, and I believe Sleep Ray.
Okay,
the
I didn't
ones
say
you
sleep
got
ray. I'm gonna
wrong.
go ahead and
never
own
mind.
that I didn't say that.
Oh,
I
that's
said
okay.
paralyze.
Paralyze.
So even worse.
Paralyze was correct. Paralyze was
Okay.
correct. Okay, so you got those 4 right. The ones that are not on there that you said were Confusion, Imprisonment, Frost,
No, I said
and Fire.
confuse. I said confuse. I said imprisonment.
Yeah, neither of those are on there.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so what
So
are
here
the other
are
ones then?
here are the correct rays: Charm Ray,
Ah.
Charm Person, Paralyzing Ray,
I said perilous.
8. You got that one right. I'm going
Sorry.
through them all. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
Fear
sorry.
Ray. Fear
Oh,
Ray.
fear.
Slowing Ray. Innervation
slowing.
Ray. Telekinetic Ray. Sleep Ray. Petrification Ray. Disintegration Ray. Death Ray. So you got all the
man.
big hitters.
Oh, man. I
You
forgot
missed
about
some of the
innervation.
little ones.
Forgot about slow. Okay.
Charm. Yeah.
Charm. Okay. Well, yeah. Like I said.
Bonus
I remember-
question. What does the main eye do? I'm sure you know this.
The main eye has true seeing, right? Or
Oh no.
sees through illusions.
Oh, no,
No?
Rob. Oh no, Rob. It's a anti-magic field.
Oh, fuck. That's right. Whatever.
Again,
beholders. I hate
not
beholders.
important. You can look at the
I
stats.
hate beholders.
I kind of do too, though. I love, and we'll save this maybe for our Spelljammer episode. Beholders have giant organic ships in Spelljammer, and that also have eye stalks, which is super
I mean,
cool.
they're mostly just like a really well-designed monster that is incredibly difficult and unfun to fight and has a ton of like random like effects. So like, unless your party like vastly over-prepares, they're gonna fuck somebody up, and it's not always a good time.
It's definitely a monster you want to deploy if your party's like itching for a challenge, and then you can give them the time to prepare. Like, I like it when a party's like, we know there's a beholder there, we know it's super deadly, we're up for this challenge, we want to kill it because it's got something we want.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's fucking our shit up and we're ready.
Yeah. All right.
Rob, according to the 5th edition rules, right? And this is, I think, kind of a niche case, but it's important because we've been talking about it. Can you cast spells underwater?
You can cast spells underwater if you are able to, I guess, meet the somatic and verbal components. So I don't know. I guess the answer is yes, but, which probably isn't correct. It depends on whether or not you are able to speak and or move underwater.
I'm gonna give you that one because this
Okay.
is unclear in the rules, and like so many things with D&D, like in order to have the answer to these things, instead of them, being compiled in a nice handy FAQ or thing, you have to go find a tweet by fucking Jeremy Crawford.
Oh, this is one of those ones where he's clarified in a tweet and you got to
Right.
dig it up to find the answer. Yeah. Not a fan of these. Not a fan.
So being underwater does not prevent spell casting, and the ruling seems to be yes. There's no real conditional. I mean, I would say maybe you have to be able to breathe or some way operate underwater if you want to use a verbal component. but-
Yeah, I mean, like, logically, if you can't speak, you can't cast a verbal spell, so you would have to have water breathing. But otherwise, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't
Right.
be able to cast. There's no, like, the spells don't come with any above water, below water, components. So
Right.
that's
So-
interesting.
So there's two answers from Jeremy Crawford here. One says, yes, you can cast spells underwater, and another answering a question 4 years ago, if a creature can breathe underwater, can it perform the verbal component for spells underwater? And Jeremy Crawford helpfully says yes.
Okay.
So that's all clarified. We're
all right.
We're all good and ready there.
All on the same page here. Okay.
Okay, I think it's time for another fun history question here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so Rob, in order, and I know how much you love the Forgotten Realms.
This is I'm already gonna fuck this up. I
Can-
can't wait.
Can you name the gods or goddesses of magic in order from creation to the current timeline?
Oh, I actually had a subplot about this in one of my games that I actually
Ooh.
ran. So, oh god, though I can't remember the name of the first one. Who was? Let's see. There was one god, and they all have like same sounding names.
You're on the right track. I'm telling you
Was-
right now, you're on the right track, and this is something I would never fucking remember.
I can't remember. It was very close to Mistra, but it wasn't Mistra. There was that one, and then he or she died and passed their mantle on to the second Mistra, who during the time of troubles was killed and passed on her mantle to a mage named Midnight, who then became the new Mistra, which is who then also disappeared during the spell plague and died, but didn't actually die and is now back as still Mystra, I think. I'm probably missing a god of magic in there somewhere, but like that's what I remember of this particular. This is like maybe the only part of Forgotten Realms that I've ever paid any attention to. And as you can tell, I still don't know it that well.
Still fucking understand it. Neither do I. I think all of those answers are correct, other than before Mystra, there was a Mistril. But you basically got
right.
that being
Mistril.
like, oh, there's one that's different.
Who thought
name.
that was a good fucking idea? Mistril. I just like, I
Mistril.
knew it was so close, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, I was interested in this because I think there's actually one piece of Forgotten Realms lore that I think is kind of interesting. I like, this is a bit like, I think it kind of tickles me when they explain rules or universe retcons within universe stuff. So I'm always interested in the time of troubles and the spell plague and all this stuff. And so Mystra is by some accounts, you know, the most powerful god because she controls the weave. And so, you know, there's some interesting stuff happening with her and the gods in general, but still kind of doesn't make any sense. Still kind of like really incomprehensible, but yeah.
This one is not as hard as it sounds.
Okay, we'll see.
Rob, I need the rules explanation, or, you know, basically explain what it is. How do you calculate THAC0? THAC 0.
It's the roll that you need to hit armor class 0. That's what it stands for. To hit armor class 0. So the lower the number, the better your THAC0 is. Right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Right. If a player character has a THAC0 of 10, right? And they roll a 12, right? That means they can hit what?
And they can hit an armor class -2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got it. You understand THAC0. It's not that hard.
It's not that
however,
hard.
We're glad it's gone because it's still kind of confusing.
Actually that complicated. However, it is so counterintuitive that it's just so hard to explain that there's no reason to do it that way. That just
that's our opinion. You can disagree with us, but yeah, it is too complicated.
Not a lot of THAC0 defenders still running around, are there? Like that's an old like war game legacy thing. Which again, it works fine in a war game, but like just make it easy for people, you know. Yeah.
All right, Rob, maybe previewing our episode, another lore question on Spelljammer. Of all of the D&D races, which one has conquered the most crystal spheres in Spelljammer?
Oh, interesting question. I don't know the answer. Is it the Illithids? Is it the Illithids?
Close, but too evil. The answer is the elves. According to the Spelljammer box set, the elvish Imperial Armada has basically conquered the most Spelljammer crystal spheres.
Fucking space elves.
Man.
Never would have thought. Okay, interesting.
Me neither. Until I was rereading that. We gotta do a Spelljammer episode.
We're gonna do. I think put a pin in it for next week. Let's do a Spelljammer episode. I've been meaning to do this forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Elves. Okay.
Last 5th edition rules question, Rob, and I think it's an easy one.
I guess we'll find out.
Your muscle wizard is wielding a shield. He or she or they also casts mage armor. How do you calculate their armor class?
Let's see. Mage armor gives them a... Is this a trick question because they can't cast mage armor with a shield?
It might be. You got to consider all the possibilities, Rob.
Because I think they can. Let's see. Shield is... Let's see, I'm actually about to show my ass after getting all these rules questions, right? Shield is +1 armor class? +2? Mage armor raises their armor class to 12? I don't know. I think their AC would be, in the absence of leaving aside dexterity, base of 13. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. So what's your final answer?
My final answer is their AC is 13. You calculate it by adding base of 12 to whatever the armor class of the shield is.
That is basically correct. The correct answer is 13 plus 2 for the shield plus, of course, dexterity.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
like that.
Tough.
I didn't like that at all.
I don't
Sorry.
like. I don't really like how 5th edition presents like AC. Like I know it's
neither.
supposed to be
They're
more
trying to make it
simple.
simpler, but it somehow is less simple. I don't like it. Yeah, it just like armor sets your AC to a certain number. It doesn't add, and so I get that they want to prevent players from having to do too much addition, but in doing so, they have just made it complicated in a different way. I don't know, or maybe it makes sense to other people. It seems very counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, it sucks. I've got one more history question, Rob, and then I think we're gonna wrap up our quiz.
All right.
So
Let me see if I can get one of these correct.
in the first or original edition of Dungeons and Dragons, what modifiers were applied to characters who were women?
I actually have no idea. I didn't even know that this was a thing. Matt, please tell me. This is exciting.
So it's more complicated than I thought it was, Rob. But basically, back in sort of early editions, you didn't have ability modifiers for different races, but you did have ability score minimums and maximums. And for, as listed in the game, for female characters, for most races, they had a lower maximum for strength for female characters that ranged from 3 to 1, except for half-orcs, which female half-orcs were allowed to have the same maximum strength. So,
And that's incredible information. Thank you, Matt, for sharing that with me and with the readers, or the listeners.
It sucks, right?
It sucks. It's bad. First edition D&D is canceled, folks.
I'll also point out that Dragon Magazine 3 had a supplement article, Notes on Women and Magic. Great article title. Very
we might have
cool.
to do a dramatic reading series on this, I think.
Let's add it. Let's read Notes on Women in Magic.
Yeah,
the full title of the article is Notes on Women in Magic, bringing the Distaff gamer into D&D. But yes,
we'll revisit
women
this.
have lower strength scores, right? They were given 1d8 plus 1d6 instead of 3d6 in this article, not in the base rules. And a beauty stat between 2 and 20 instead of charisma. Again, this was just in this optional article, not the base rules. But regardless, it sucked ass.
Oh, this is amazing. Yeah, we're going to come back to this.
Anyway, all right, Rob, you failed / succeeded at my quiz because the only winning move was not to play.
I hope that we've demonstrated that I don't know. God, I hope nobody ever has quizzed any of you on your D&D knowledge as a prerequisite to play or DM. But if they do, tell them to fuck off and find somebody else to play with because it doesn't.
You like Dungeons and Dragons?
Doesn't matter.
Name 5 dragons. I'll wait.
Matt, thank you.
I actually
but also,
don't think I can name 5 dragons, Rob.
No, thank you. I don't think I can either. What? Bahamut? Tiamat?
Those are gods. Those don't count.
That's cheating. Wait, hang
Venom
on.
Fang. I remember Venom Fang from our Lost Mine of Phandelver episode.
I feel like I was accidentally named Skyrim dragons. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can actually come up with 5 dragons and be sure that they're all D&D dragons.
Can you name 5 Lord of the Rings dragons or Tolkien dragons?
Are there 5? There's
there's Smaug.
Glaurung, there's Smaug, and Kagalong the Black.
And Kagalon the Black, right?
Are there any others?
That's probably it, actually.
I think those may be the only named dragons in...
Please write us if you know another named dragon in the Tolkien mythos.
I'm pretty
That's
sure
not
those
like
are the... Because
Tom Bombadil from a Tom Bombadil
We're big Lord of the
ride.
Rings hyper nerds, and I'm pretty sure those are the only named dragons.
There were the Cold Drakes, right?
No, there are other dragons, but they don't have names.
Just a type of dragon.
Yeah,
right?
there are definitely other dragons running around, and
the
they may have
werewolves
names,
of the Last Desert.
but
those are
Tolkien
not
doesn't
dragons.
give them specific individual names. There might
Were
be another
you
one that's
mad in the Hobbit movie where the werewolves of the Last Desert showed up like fucking dune sandworms and
Matt,
made
I will
holes for the
be
goblins
honest
to come
with
out
you,
of?
I did not see the last Hobbit movie because I was so disheartened by the first 2. So if that is a thing that happened in the last one, the Battle of the 5 Armies, I didn't see it. So yeah. I would have been mad, though, if I had seen that.
I want to point out that Rob and I, despite being lore hyper nerds for all these things like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, we're mad that The Hobbit, we didn't like the Hobbit movies because they were bad movies. They were not fun to watch. They were not entertaining or making us feel things.
Pissed at the Lord of the Rings movies. In fact, I love them because they like left out Tom Bombadil or The Scouring of the Shire. Like, they were great movies and I liked them. The Hobbit movies tried to include every fucking thing and ruined it, and they were bad.
Yeah,
they sucked.
We don't like bad movies.
They sucked. They were real bad.
Okay, speaking of, like, I think this is an appropriate letter for this episode. Speaking of lore you shouldn't know, episode title. Here's a question about some deep pulls from Dungeons and Dragons. Here's our letter. Dear Matt and Rob, I've been going through the Dragonlance audiobooks again, and I can't help but want to run this for my players. How would I best go about doing this? Is there a modern 5e campaign that I could tweak, or would it be better to create my own adventure campaign heavily inspired by Dragonlance? Thank you much, Jeremiah.
This is interesting. I read all
what's your feelings, Dragon?
I read all the
Dragonlance?
Dragonlance books as a young lad.
Rob, I think we should revisit these
maybe
for
we
the
should.
podcast.
I gotta be honest, even then I was kind of like on them. I don't think they're bad. I just don't think they're very, I don't know, they feel kind of like sort of Shannara. They're just like very, very generic fantasy, and that's all well and good, but I don't not super enthused about any of them, but I read them all, and
I mean, I think they're like maybe the best of their era, like D&D
for sure. Yeah,
spin-off. That
further
doesn't make
time,
them good, but
they were far
it
superior
could make
to
them
the
very
alternatives.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I know lots of people from our listener here to Jeremiah to what's that big beefy man who loves D&D? Joe Maglianello is like, big
Dragonlance fan.
Yeah.
I mean,
lots of people really have warm feelings in their hearts for
riding dragons is pretty cool.
Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Summer Moons, Dragons of New Moons,
many
Dragons
nerds
Breaking Dawn.
Have looked up to Raistlin Majir as a I don't
Tanis Half-Elven.
Some sort of
Hasselhoff Burrfoot.
That's right. They're fine. They got good names. They're vaguely an interesting adventuring party. Sorry.
Did I say Hasselhoff?
I think you said Hasselhoff.
Tasselhoff.
Tasselhoff. Yeah.
Tasselhoff.
It's fine. Yeah. They're fine. I don't know.
Okay, Yeah, they're fine. I feel like going back to them, I don't know what I would expect.
We should revisit them because I'm just like trying to remember like what
nearly 2 decades since
they're
read them.
about. I mean, riding dragons is cool. Having lances, being a dragon lancer, that's neat. That's a cool thing. So to answer Jeremiah's question,
right?
If I were
would
to run
you
this,
adapt a campaign based on it?
I would not follow the books very closely. And I say that because I don't remember what the books are about. I would say feel free to draw upon the world and the lore, and definitely lean into the whole dragons are common and people ride them and fight on them. I don't know. I make that like sort of a central part of the campaign. But without revisiting the books, I could not give you very useful advice on how to adapt that.
To build on Rob's answers, not for 5th edition or I think for 4th or 3rd, but for earlier editions, there are a ton, and all available on the DM's Guild setting books for Dragonlance, right? So if you want to set a campaign in the Dragonlance lore, it's basically one of your best supported campaign settings, right? Stats and stuff you'll have to convert to 5th edition. Again, we don't think that's too difficult. You could always find something from 5th edition that fits, but there is a ton of information about the Dragonlance world. There's even a Spelljammer book for Dragonlance, Kryn Space. So if you want to build a campaign in the Dragonlance world, you have a ton of resources to support you. What about this question? Because I feel like this is a more general question, Rob. We read a fantasy book, we like it, we want to run it for our players. Is that an instinct we should follow, or what things should we think about as we do that?
I mean, this happens to me a lot, but more it's what about this do I like? Because I more often when I am reading fantasy these days, it immediately feels like this would not work as a campaign setting or a campaign by itself. However, there are these themes and ideas that I like, which I would like to steal from, because novels have a existing character list and storyline, and usually the world is centered on those people and that story, and so that makes it sort of difficult to directly use for a campaign setting. But I do sometimes, I do often read things and get excited about how could I adapt this, or how could I create something that is heavily inspired by this book.
I think I agree with that, Rob. And the Dragonlance campaigns are, high fantasy, epic storytelling of the perfect ideal of that. And one of the problems with, I think, trying to run a campaign that follows those story beats is all the characters in Dragonlance make very, very specific decisions that I would not expect player characters to often make, right?
Yeah.
Very much based on...
I've read about people running shadow Critical Role campaigns, right, and trying to follow the path of the Critical Role team, but that for the same reason doesn't work, right?
Right.
They don't make the same decisions. Your players can't be expected to have the same relationships and go in the same places and do the same things, and so it is challenging, I think, to sometimes adapt specific stories unless they have a very, very rich world and a lot of... I mean, this is even hard when you try to, I have tried to run or play in multiple Lord of the Rings campaigns, and that's hard because, at every point in the history, somebody very important is doing something that matters, and so you're always just a sideshow? I don't know.
Right. If you wanted to run the core story of Dragonlance about the heroes who save the world and defeat the evil dragons, I think you could do that, right? Take the same overarching threat, right? Evil dragons, or I forget exactly what it was.
Something like that.
Then build your own campaign based on what your players are interested in doing and their player characters, because maybe they're not going to make a tortured evil conflicted neutral mage or Peace Moon or something, the first cleric in the world then, right?
Cannot remember.
Can't remember, right? So your players are not going to have the same thing, but if you want to say, okay, I'm going to read the Dragonlance campaign setting, get the background, this is the threat, the player characters are going to tell a story to defeat that threat, and then everything beyond that I think you would have to make from scratch. I will say that because lots of people had this same feeling in the 80s and 90s, D&D made Dragonlance Classics Volume 1, 2, and 3, which is basically a set of adventure modules that follow the exact story of, I think, the original Dragonlance storyline. I do not recommend using them. They are poorly written, but they do exactly what you're asking. I don't think anyone would have fun playing them.
I did not know that.
I didn't know people tried to do Critical Role shadow campaigns. That just sounds like a terrible idea. In the same vein as this.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were all shared as this was a nightmare game, but I do think some people have thought this is what we should do. Let's just follow along, let's recreate the story of Critical Role.
Right. It's good idea, bad idea. Good idea. Use the Wildemont campaign setting or Exandra, right? And build your own story with similar things. Bad idea. Try and make your players do the exact same story as this novel or this other campaign.
Yeah.
Anyway, great question, Jeremiah.
Yeah, let us know what you decide to do or how this pans out. There are a lot of neat things in Dragonlance. I remember liking the books very much, but I can't tell you anything about them now. I unfortunately, of all the fantasy series that I have read, I did not retain much of that. So we might have to revisit Dragonlance as a setting and as a series and come back. But it would be fun to maybe read one or part of one and see how it holds up.
I think we could make it through one.
Probably.
I remember there was a knight with a sweet mustache.
That sounds right.
Mustache Night.
Okay, everyone. Well, thank you for listening.
Please leave us a rating or review. It helps the show. If you have a question for us, we'll get to your answers soon. Write us at dmofnone@gmail.com.
Yes, absolutely. Stay healthy, stay safe, and keep rolling them dice.